Hello and welcome to another edition of the Money and More Show. This is the Small Business Insight edition. I'm Don Emmett, Managing Director of Entrust Associates. And we're here in the studio of WCOM LP in Chapel Hill and Carrboro. We're here in the studio today with Kevin Condas. Kevin's the president and owner of Drain Designs. Interesting business. Kevin, thanks for coming in. Welcome.
Good morning, Don. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. So, I've been to your website a little bit, and it looks like you have an interesting company. Can you tell us a little bit about the business and how you got into it?
Sure. I spent the last 30 years of my career in masonry, repair, restoration, custom designs, and drainage. And drainage has always been a big part of our masonry planning and masonry repair work. Just about all the masonry failures that I've encountered, one way or another, have been caused by poor drainage. They could have been avoided. So I got really excited about this. I'm a sustainer. I like to make things last as long as possible. I love the custom design element, but I was even more excited, and Drain Designs took over. I got really interested in this business partly because nobody else seemed to be doing it or specializing in drainage, and I look at it as a trade. It's complex.
So, can you tell us a typical engagement or job for Drain Design?
So a lot of people will see a little puddle in their crawl space and give us a call, and that's usually an indication of a lot of different issues. The biggest issue is runoff from the roof. The average roof is about 2,500 square feet, and with the 2,500 square feet, you get about 1,500 gallons of runoff on average per week. So average downspout that comes from your gutters, you get about 200 gallons out of that downspout every week. We get over an inch of rain per week on average, based on an RDU's last 3 years of reports. So over 52 inches per year. A lot of rain in our area lately.
Okay.
So now
So like I have some water in my crawl space, or
Right. So the first thing we do, we try to keep the water out.
Okay.
When I go to a customer's home, there's a lot of companies that do interior crawl space work that lets the water in and then pumps it out with a sump pump, or has some type of interior French drain. Our philosophy is to keep the water out and actually get it off of the landscaped property. The property can usually handle the inch or 2 or 3 of rain that falls on the property. Can't do much about that unless you put an umbrella over the whole area. But what we can do is catch the downspout water and get all that roof water out. That's the most significant drainage improvement that you can make to your property, is catching that high volume water and getting it out off of the landscape property. So it's a real challenge here in Chapel Hill, because stormwater management wants you to keep the water on your property.
Okay.
Because then it filters in through the ground. The problem is it also causes undermining and underground tunneling. So with small lots and big home footprints, they leave a big drainage footprint on that small lot, and it's not practical to let that 200 gallons just dump out around your foundation. The bigger concern in my mind for the homeowner and for our economy in general is that if we let the water dump around our foundation, we easily cut the life of the home in half, the healthy life of the home in half. So double the healthy life of our homes. Install smart drainage solutions.
I guess I guess one of the worst things you could hear for a home is you have a crack in your foundation. Is that kind of how something like that might happen? You maybe
Absolutely.
some water and temperature gets cold, ice, and
Right. Well, we have clay soil that expands and contracts. This is a Triassic basin runs through this area. It's all clay soil, or a high composition of clay. Clay expands like a cupcake. If you take dry clay in a bowl powdered, add water, it swells up like a cupcake. There's a Cambridge University video of that online in 20 minutes. And so we have a lot of clay, sandy clay loam, and over in Briar Chapel, a new neighborhood that's developing close by here, they've got a ton of problems with foundations cracking before anyone ever moves into the house.
Really?
Every 8 feet. Contractors don't cover those cracks until they can slide a quarter into the crack. By then, you've got a significant break in the foundation and a weakening of the home's foundation that lets water in. So more cracking means more water in the crawl space, and potential for mold, insect problems, all kinds of problems, wood rot, etc.
My goodness. I just, do you also do commercial work, or is it mostly residential?
We will look at anyone who calls and has a property with a water problem. We're happy to look at it. Commercial, residential, property management companies we work for. Everyone could use drainage improvements, and they could use a drainage professional to regularly inspect their drainage situation, because most of the problems when it comes to foundation failure are problems that you can't see. People focus on the runoff that carries their mulch away and messes up and carves ditches through their yards, but
Right.
the real issue with foundation problems is the water that you don't see, the tunneling underground.
So I would think, do you also, that kind of planning should be involved in like new construction? And having a reliable, a sound drainage plan, or as you're building a building, a shopping center, or a home. Is that part of your company's endeavor?
Well, I'm so glad you asked. We barely have scratched the surface. We have got a list of the best new builders in the area, and we haven't even, we've been so busy and busy developing. I consider us a research and development company. There's no really good literature on what should be done about drainage problems, and as a result, nobody knows. There's no good guidance in the North Carolina Building Code book. It's about a page worth of drainage in a book this thick. That's just, and people want to blame the builders, but the builders need guidelines. They need something to go by, and what they do right now causes as many problems as it really seems to do more harm than good, is the bottom line. So with new builders, we can install a lifetime guaranteed drainage system for about half the price if we can get in there when the home's being built. And about a third of the price if there's an irrigation system, which is another really interesting fact. You get about 70,000 gallons off the average roof per year. The average irrigation system uses 70,000 gallons per year. It's a no-brainer. People who can afford to water their beautiful lawns can afford to harvest their water.
So using the runoff
That's
off
right.
your roof to water the grass.
Right, and these systems should be put in when the home's being built. And people won't spend the money because they are expensive unless there's regulation. I hate to ask for more regulation, but in this area, I like that Chapel Hill's moving forward. They're a pain in a lot of people's project planning when it comes to drainage. But on the other hand, they're starting to take it seriously for good reason.
You would think, and also that, you would think that'd be a selling point for a new home, to offer that as part of, the whole design, or particularly, a green, sustainable home, that we're watering the grass through the irrigation system that would take it off the roof, which is, seems brilliant.
It seems like a great idea because it is. Most great ideas are pretty obvious when somebody points them out, but I think it's just a matter of we've got to get this in the public's eye and in their ears, and so thanks for having me out here to help with that.
Hopefully we can get help spread the word. I don't know if you mentioned, how long has Drain Design been in business?
So 4 years ago, I transitioned from K Squared Masonry, that was my previous masonry company, into Drain Designs, and we incorporated Drain Designs, basically changed the name.
Okay.
So
do you still do some masonry work, or has the Drain Design company taken off so well that you put that aside?
we've put the drainage first, but most drainage jobs require going underneath patios,
Okay.
boring through walls, going under sidewalks, cutting concrete driveways. So there's
Okay.
some masonry involved. Masonry is a big part of a lot of our jobs, but it's, even though it may be a big part of a big job, it only adds up to about 10%. So
Okay.
we can only do masonry in conjunction with our drainage work, since our foreman has masonry experience, but the rest of the crew, they're just drainage technicians. Well, not just they are drainage technicians and laborers without masonry experience. So, but we are training them all to do.
Okay, so it's a nice,
this here and there.
compliment. They grew, one grew out of the other. And I understand there's some more growth. So what's the plan or strategy to grow grain design for the future?
Well, we've sort of, I would call it like a casual partnership with Chimneys Plus and Gutter Solutions. That's Charlie Quayle's company. He's in Pittsburgh, and they are a great company. He's got great philosophies, and that's the only gutter company that we've really teamed up with. Like I say, we haven't even went out and been able to handle advertising or spreading the word. We've been so busy developing our systems and trying to figure out the best possible way. And I'm a critic of my own work. I'm constantly trying to figure out how we can do this better, easier, how we can make it easier on the guys and more fun, because I'm talking about being down in the trenches. This is hard work. I feel like we're developing an industry, not just a company. I feel like it's something that every state in the country needs to double the healthy life of their homes. Home ownership is basically about paying a home off in 30 years, hopefully, and it's going to be worth something when you pay it off. At the rate we're going, you can look at Cary as a great example. The 30-year-old homes in Cary, so many of them are money pits right now. There's so much water damage, so much cracking and problems in the foundation, and so much wood rot that they're almost, a lot of them are just, homeowners can't afford to keep up with them. So what do we do with these thousands and thousands of homes when they're not, if the drainage would have been put in properly, and it's the whole infrastructure, it's a real challenge after the home's older and there's all these cable lines through the yard, irrigation systems, underground power lines and gas lines, things like that make it a real challenge. But that's what we do. We go in and save the home. We wish we would have put the system in 20 or 30 years ago when the homes were built, because it would be just as good today. The PVC lasts underground forever. There's the way we install it, there's no chance of it separating. We haven't seen any of that. Clean outs everywhere so you can access and we can maintain it. We go as part of our warranty every 2 years and check the system at least, sometimes every year in a system with more surface drains.
So you're saying you're so busy, you can't, a lot of things you can't get to, and that's, I think, a dilemma for a lot of entrepreneurs and small business people. I'm curious, how are people finding you? What's your customer acquisition strategy?
Well, we, like most businesses, we love the internet. It's promoting accountability. I love Google, and just the idea that the best companies are going to rise to the top. The companies that even if they get a bad review, they're going to respond to it and they're going to take care of it. And one way or another, they're going to have a whole lot of good reviews and a good rating. And that's what customers look for, I think. And if they ask me for a recommendation, I don't have one. I say, look for the best rated guy. Look at Angie's List. Now it's free. And look at Google reviews, Yelp reviews. Try and find somebody that has a good dozen ratings, and they should all be good, because they don't want a bad one. And they're going to bend over backwards to give you good customer service, and that's what we do. So
the challenge with my business and things I'm looking at in terms of, there's organic Google reviews and there's paid Google ads and AdWords. Google, do you do any of that, or do you just rely mostly on the organic reviews?
Well, so far we've relied mainly on we have Angie's List, a site there, and we've paid about $2,000 for a year of advertising on Angie's List to kind of stay up on the first page. As far as Google goes, we have played around a little bit with Google AdWords, and I don't think we're currently doing anything with that. We've been too busy this year we've kind of let a lot of the advertising costs go until we can further develop our crews and get more guys to handle the workload.
I think that's the thing that I'm looking at with my marketing, and whether the money I am spending on Google AdWords is it cost effective? Is it
Mhm.
getting the desired
Mhm.
things? And I think that's another one of the challenges that small business people face.
Mhm.
All these social media, Google. Where do you spend your money? Where do you spend your time? Or is just word of mouth or
Mhm.
the free mediums the best way to go?
Mhm.
These are challenges that we all face.
Yeah, definitely, and I'll tell you, word of mouth is always really the best. That it takes that initial internet presence, but once you get the ball rolling, then word of mouth is what really kind of, and there's a lot of businesses like big businesses that have sites, and there's a lot of neighborhoods that have sites that advertise their best help. Anybody that they've hired that they're really impressed with, a lot of people will take time to post a little bit about them on their company site. So that's been great for us.
In terms of, you mentioned you have 7 employees or technicians and a foreman. Most of the business owners I speak with, employees are the business, but they're often sometimes the most challenging component in
Mhm.
attracting, retaining, maintaining good people. What's your strategy in terms of employees or human people resources?
Well, I think so far we've went through a lot of different strategies. We've tried different types of incentive programs that have been really challenging and have taken a lot of time and resources to put together. And the longer I've tried these different things, the more I realize that it's really tough to do a one-size-fits-all. I try to promote a work-family environment where it's a lot of communication between the guys and I, and they know that there's an open door, that anything they need, I hope they know they can come to me and we should talk about it and figure out how to get it. Just like for our customers, we try to design a system that's going to fit their needs and budget. We try to do the same thing for our employees. We try to design a job that's giving them good potential possibilities. If a guy wants to get more into the sales end of the job, if a guy wants to fly the drone that we use to take pictures of our systems to show where the lines are located, or if a guy wants to learn more about mechanics or welding, we've got a lot of welding and things that we do for different jobs and for our equipment. So there's all kinds of opportunities. If a guy wants to get more into the office, if he wants to start his own Drain Designs franchise, I'm open to, sky's the limit here. When you have when you're trying to develop an industry, anybody that's got the wherewithal to come to me and say, hey, I want to make more money, or I want to do better things. I want to help with the advertising. I want to design some type of a campaign for an advertising campaign. I'm all about it. So, guys, if you're listening, just another reminder. I hope I'll try and get them to listen to the program. Maybe we'll have a meeting where we sit here and check it out.
All right, well, we're butting up to our time constraints here, so why don't you tell the people and potential employees and our customers, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, you can call us at 1-800-DRAINAGE. We love to get a phone call. We love to get emails as well. DrainDesigns.com is our website. If you can contact us through the website, and Kevin K at Drain Designs. That's Kevin K at DrainDesigns.com is my personal email. So 1-800-DRAINAGE. Call us anytime. You'll get my wife at the office right now, and or Tracy. We have another helper in our office, but or you'll get me. So it's a home office right now.
Family business.
Yeah. We're looking to, in the future, we see franchising. We've got a patented product called the American Drain, a replacement for the French Drain that we make here in North Carolina. And we've already produced and installed some of these products, and it's still in the testing phase. So there's a lot of exciting things. We're very excited about drainage.
That's great stuff. Now I'm excited about drainage.
All right, all right.
All right. Well, thanks, Kevin, for coming in. Appreciate it. And I want to thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Small Business Insights. This is the Money and More Show edition. So I'm Don Emmett from Entrust Associates saying, see you next time.
Thank you.
All right.